Magazine was a magazine for teenagers in the 60s. It was a big format magazine, and it had a fold-out in the middle. It was a calendar section. It had a psychedelic poster on one side and a calendar on the back. And it was called the Electric Last Minute was the pullout. And on the Electric Last Minute one month was a 1-inch square picture of this cover. And it just totally blew my mind and changed my life forever in a way, because of the weird implications of it. Because it was a forward-looking moment, but here's like stuff from the past pulling up in an old car, looking very interesting. And so anyway, I just went, what are these underground comics? And how might I make them? And so I started doing stream of consciousness comics, and in college, and then it was years later when I was published, and then Art and Francoise noticed me and gave me a home in Raw, and here I am with a career in underground comics. Income zero. Here.
All the attendant fame.
Fantastic.
Well, Art, can you talk a little bit about how you got involved with underground comics? We have this image here of you in your younger days. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement in underground comics and what that meant to you at the time?
Well, let's see. I met Robert Crumb not as an underground cartoonist, because I didn't know that that appellation existed, but because we were both fellow workers at Topps Bubblegum Factory at different times. So the first time I got out to San Francisco was when I got to see my psychedelic magazine, which was an issue of Time, saying there was all happening in San Francisco and I was on the wrong coast. So I went out there and had as an address, Robert's address, to be able to look up a fellow bubblegum card worker. And when I looked him up, it was only knowing the things he had had in an old Harvey Kurtzman magazine called Help, and the things I'd seen around the bubblegum company. And at that time, I was doing a kind of experimental comics that didn't have a name. After finding out in high school that I didn't want to do a daily comic strip, I was actually offered one while I was in high school. So I tried to do 2 weeks of samples and found after about 6 days that I didn't have the attention span to do the next week. So instead I got into a Volkswagen bus and went across to San Francisco and found Robert before that issue of Zap came out. And it changed my life too, because it made me stop doing my experimental comics, because I figured there's somebody doing it so much better. So I went and hanged out with him for a while, gave him all the ideas I could think of for underground comics I thought I might draw now that I knew they were called underground comics. Went to Golden Gate Park, took LSD, and I didn't surface for about a year. And when I came back, I found out there was this stuff called underground comics going on all around me, and I wanted to be part of it. So I scrapped all the things I had been working on and went back to imitate my betters. You know, so I was trying to do comics that were more violent than S. Clay Wilson's or more trippy than Crumb's, and spent a couple of years in apprenticeship.